Hello, my name is Andrew Wall. I'm head of marketing at Illuvium, and we're so happy to have you in our very first beta. We're so excited to have real players getting their hands on our games and experiencing them. I'm going to show you everything you need to know about survival mode to really test out this private beta. But first, a couple housekeeping items for you. So number one, you are free to share footage about this private beta publicly. Just go crazy. There's a couple caveats with that though. But we do appreciate you sharing footage, you talking about your experience, and you getting the word out about Illuvium. Thank you for helping us with that. We really appreciate it. The caveats, what are they? Number one, it's important that you disclose whatever your partnership or relationship is between you and Illuvium, the organization. Transparency is really important to us, and trust is really important to us as a brand and as an organization. Please maintain trust with your audience and disclose that relationship in a way that's hard for your audience to miss. Number two, it's important that you disclose to your audience that this is a work in progress build of this game. There's bugs, there's glitches, there's missing Illuvials, there's missing features. We know that. We're disclosing that to you. And so you should go ahead and disclose that to your audience to maintain trust with your audience. Number three, we would appreciate it if you captured or streamed or shared any footage from this private beta in the highest possible quality. At least 1080p, 60 frames per second minimum. We would prefer 2K or 4K. I mean, we are trying to make the best graphics on planet Earth here, AAA game studio. And so if you capture footage at a low quality, it doesn't really show what the game actually is to your audience. So high quality, please. And lastly, please help us send audiences and new viewers and people that are discovering Illuvium for the first time to our real website, illuvium.io. There are many malicious actors out there that may create fake portals or fake versions of our site or fake accounts trying to trick people by using the trusted Illuvium brand to get them to go somewhere that's not official. Just help us keep your audiences safe and send them to illuvium.io, the official site. All right, let's just go do a live tutorial of survival mode right now. I've got it loaded up on my computer. Let me show you how this works and what you'll be experiencing. Let's go. Cool. So in survival mode today, I'm going to be using casual mode here. So there's going to be no timer, just so I can have time to show you the systems. But competitive mode is going to put you on the clock. You're going to be under pressure to make highly strategic and complex decisions on the fly. Makes it exciting, makes it awesome. This is survival mode. This is where players battle against increasingly powerful waves of enemies using a randomly generated deck. Each wave you defeat earns you mastery points that you can use to command a stronger team, and the goal is to last as long as possible. So for example, right now, I've got 125 total mastery points. And as you can see, each Illuvial has their mastery point cost on the top of their card. After you defeat a wave, you gain mastery points, and mastery points are used to command Illuvials and materialize armaments. They are fully refundable if you return an Illuvial to your deck or reselect an armament. You can filter Illuvials just so you can sort through them more easily here at the bottom of the screen. So for example, over here on the left, you've got affinity sorting. In the middle, you've got stage sorting. And then on the right, you've got class sorting, just for ease of selection as you're trying to figure out which Illuvials to deploy. Speaking of which, deploying and removing Illuvials is quite easy. You can drag and drop an Illuvial of your choice onto the battle board. So I'm going to choose C4S, deploy. Boom. Notice how it took the mastery points away when I did that. You can remove those Illuvials by dragging and dropping them out of bounds and bringing them back to your deck. This is called recalling. You can drag and drop them here into the water, or you can recall them by bringing them to the bottom of the screen. There it is, and it will refund the amount. Notice the total number of recall, or it's called return points here, has decreased. You can only return 2 Illuvials per round in the current build. Keep an eye on that number. All right, so the total number of Illuvials on the battle board can be seen in this indicator at the bottom of the screen. Notice how all these little shapes and circles are empty. There's 8 total slots available for Illuvials on the battle board. Your ranger does not count, so with your ranger, that increases the total number of units in play to a maximum of 9. Now your ranger is free to play on the board. This is your ranger right here, is free to play on the board. And everything other than default armaments costs mastery points to equip when it comes to your ranger. So lots of strategic considerations in terms of how you spend those mastery points for maximum yield. You need to discover the synergy system. It is very important. On the right-hand side, you can see the enemy team's synergy panel, which tells you their synergies. Study that and understand how to counter them by creating your own team and your own synergies here on the left-hand panel. Those are your team's synergies. This is a game of counters, and synergies are critical for that. If you'd like to get deeper information on a particular Illuvial, just right-click on that Illuvial like this, and then you can get deeper info, as you can see, including affinity, class, and various statistics, etc. Now, there are deep strategic systems in survival mode, including the affinity and class systems. Certain affinities and classes counter others in Illuvium, so please reference. We may share an in-depth guide and also experiment yourself and figure out what counters what when you are testing this beta. Our synergy system provides significant depth to our auto battle modes, and this is where you increase your team's power. There are 2 types of synergies, primary and composite. Composite synergies are more powerful, and they are a combination of 2 primary synergies, and they offer more flexibility to your team. There's a threshold system that you can increase your synergy bonuses by deploying compatible Illuvials until you reach a new threshold. And then there are stages. There are stages 1, 2, and then 3 of the same line. And please be mindful of deploying 2 of the same line, as only the higher stage will count toward your synergy thresholds. Stage 1s will always start out with 2 primary synergies, and stage 2s and 3s will add composites to your strategic considerations. If none of that made sense, let me show you. So this is a stage 1 Illuvial. I'm just going to choose a random stage 1 Illuvial here. Here we go. Notice how when I had deployed this stage 1 Illuvial, I only got primary synergies over here in your synergy panel. There are no composite synergies. Now, if I wanted to add composite synergies to the mix, I could click stage 2 down here at the bottom of the screen for filtering, and I could bring out a stage 2 Illuvial. I'll bring out some random one. Let's go with Singe. And notice how when I'm about to deploy this Illuvial, over on the left-hand side in that synergy panel, it shows me that not only am I adding primary synergies, but I'm also adding a composite synergy. And this particular composite synergy is Magma, which is a combination of earth plus fire, and it adds additional, in this case, energy damage per second bonuses to my synergy mix, adding further depth to my build. So keep that in mind. And if you're adding Illuvials, as I said a moment ago, in the same line, multiple Illuvials in the same line, they do not stack in the way that you would hope that they stack in terms of their synergies. So you want to have diversity in terms of which lines of Illuvials you're deploying, and keep a close eye on your primary and composite synergies and how they're interacting with each other accordingly. Composite synergies have multiple primaries in one, as you saw a moment ago, for example, Magma. They will help you move up the thresholds in your primaries. However, your primaries do not increase your thresholds for composites. So I hope that makes sense. The earth and fire that you get here from this Magma composite applies back to your primaries there on the left, but any additional primary earth and fire you get does not go over to the right to composite. So they do not share back and forth in both directions. Only composite to primary, not primary to composite. There is a number on the right of your composite synergies right over here, and that is called an innate. and that is your innate count. Innates are not tied to your threshold, and you can view them right here, and they are permanently active. So that's yet another layer of synergies that you can use when you're playing to increase the power of your team and counter the enemies. There is a weapons and armor system, otherwise known as armaments, and there's a hotkey for this currently on PC. You hit Shift, right-click, and it pulls up that menu. The Ranger gains powers and synergies from these different armors. So, for example, if I were to choose Air-Bladed Shield, it'll display the stats and the synergies for that when I select it. And then if you choose an armor, it'll also do the same. And when you're done, obviously hit Equip, and then boom. All of a sudden, your Ranger is now equipped with that particular weapon and armament, and that will impact your synergies over here. So that is yet another strategic consideration when putting together your team. There is also a hyper system in autobattler, which is a counter system that activates when a specific Illuvial encounters an enemy combat unit. They're going to highlight in a special way. And that Illuvial is now hyper, which enables additional affinity counters, class counters, bonus stats, and effects. You want your Illuvials to be hyper, and you do not want the enemy Illuvials to be hyper. Those are the basics that you need to know about survival mode. Now, regarding feedback, what we care about in this beta is that what is your user experience here? What was your user experience overall? In terms of balance feedback, we know that the game needs to be rebalanced. Only a portion of the Illuvials are here. Key features are not in the beta, as mentioned earlier, and this is not even the minimum viable product for this mode. We're going to be adding those extra features and elements over the course of additional betas in the future. So we've got a little ways to go here until we're at the final version. Feedback on this particular game mode itself is not critically important to us on this time. What you're experiencing is not complete, so you're not going to hurt our feelings, really. And we're going to be adding multiple versions in the future with increasing depth and complexity in terms of the game mode. What we want to know about is that user experience. That's what we feedback on. The features you're using are not complete, so please be honest with us. You're not going to hurt our feelings. And please take notes during your play session about your user experience. And just be brutally honest with us about your feedback as your experience as a user. We want you to use the feedback channels we're providing, including a feedback form. We want 100% of testers to fill out that feedback form. We may even include some of you into a private Discord channel or group where you can interact with our team directly. Just let us have it. Be brutally honest. This is a proper beta. We are trying to improve the game, and your feedback is absolutely critical to that. This is such an exciting moment for us and our team in terms of being able to finally share what we've been building with folks and let them experience it firsthand. We appreciate you getting the word out about Illuvium and sharing with your experience and doing so in an honest and transparent way. Thank you so much for all of your support up to this date, and we're really looking forward to rolling out even more betas in the future with your help, your feedback. Adios.